This computer. So I'm going to record it to my computer and then we'll be able to post everything on there. So, okay, Jay, you're ready to take it away, sir.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for coming, everybody. Let me just go over a few things. I don't mind if people ask me questions in the middle of the presentation, so feel free to do that. Go ahead and put it in the chat box. Don't blurt anything else, but put it in the chat box so I'll be able to see it and we can take it from there. So, and now I lost my chat box. Why? There we go. Okay. All right, so welcome to this seminar, this webinar. And today we're going to go over the 7 pitfalls of startups with their IT. I know a lot of you are in various stages of startups. Some may have a full infrastructure and some may not. So I don't know, some of this may be basic for some people. We'll see how it goes. So what we'll be discussing is the 7 pitfalls for startup companies with IT. We'll discuss just a little bit about cybersecurity and cybersecurity insurance. And then at the end, we will discuss a little bit about what a fractional CIO can do for small businesses and why you should use a CIO, fractional CIO. So anybody have any questions yet? And feel free, there are no dumb questions. Okay. So one of my favorite quotes, every company, regardless of their products or services, is in the IT industry today. This is something a lot of business owners really need to understand. Older business owners still think that IT is kind of a passing fancy. They don't really understand it, nor do they want to. Even non-technical companies have some sort of IT. And if they're not taking care of it, they're having tons of problems, especially with cybersecurity. So early stage companies that need IT face unique challenges and pitfalls that can impact their success. Here are some of the pitfalls for early stage companies that need IT. First, lack of technical expertise. Many early stage companies need more technical expertise to develop and implement IT solutions, or this can lead to delays, errors, and poor quality of products. So I see with a lot of small startup businesses, they'll start, maybe they have their home computer and they start working from home. That's what I do, I'm a consultant. Then they start realizing they need a second computer or a third computer, then they need file server, and slowly they just start adding to it. And what they do with that, and a lot of times, is they find people who are willing to help, which is great. And this can be a family member or it could be a friend, and it can work for a period of time. The problem is they will eventually hit their point where they can no longer really be effective for you. And it's really hard to fire anyone in your family or any of your friends. So be aware that you need to find people that you can ask real questions to and pick their brain, but realize nobody wants to have their brain picked forever and never be rewarded with either some kind of longer term commitment or something, or a lot of referrals. Choosing the wrong technology. Early stage companies need the right technology or platform for their products or services. Without it, this can result in a waste of time, money, poor performance and functionality. So you'll see a lot that people think they need one type of technology over another, or they want one software over another. And they're choosing a lot of these things for the, making a lot of these choices for the wrong reasons. Usually it's for cost. When you're starting up, you don't have a lot of money. There's a free tool here, or there's a free product over there, or it's cheap over there. But how these things work together become very important to you. Are you using a CRM tool that will connect to your website so that you're easily tracking anyone who's interested in your products and services? That alone can cause double entry if they don't work together. How that works for you. A technology may work great for one company and may not work well for another company. It's just something to be aware of. Failure to prioritize security. Security is critical concern for early stage companies that need IT. The inability to prioritize security can lead to data breaches, loss of sensitive information, and damage to the company's reputation. Let me repeat that last part again. Damage to the company's reputation. This is something when you hear about data breaches that you really never hear about in the news, because you can quantify the amount of money people pay out for ransomware, but you can't quantify the lack of reputation, the hurt to a company's reputation. If you're a financial company and you've been hacked, you could really, people will never want to put money back in your system because they don't know if they'll get it back. And look at what's going on with the Silicon Valley Bank. Next, inadequate infrastructure. Early stage companies may need more infrastructure to support their IT needs. This can include hardware, software, networking, equipment, and cloud services. Well, the good news is right now, cloud is still very strong. And with cloud, you're no longer making that huge capital expense up front. In addition, cloud can be right-sized to what your actual need is. And what I mean by that is when I started in the industry, we would have servers that were well underutilized. And when I say underutilized, we never used more than 50% of the resources on that system. And the reason being was that if there became a problem with that system and it started writing out log errors, that could fill up the whole file system in like no time and shut the machine down. So I like keeping machines between 25 and 35% utilization. With the cloud today and the ability to expand on the fly, you can run your systems at 70, 80, 90% utilization. And when it goes over a threshold, it can automatically spin off a new one. And the great thing about cloud is you're only paying for the services that you use. So remember, you don't have to buy an entire server, stick it in a data center, and just have it sit there. You can actually have a much smaller server, and as you grow. The other thing to keep in mind is depending on what your company does, and I use government contractors as a good example. They could have 3 employees today and want a contract for 150 employees. And tomorrow they need to staff up for 150. Now, how do they do that quickly and effectively? All of this is part of things that small companies need to keep in mind and think about. And there's budget constraints, right? Not every company is fully funded from the very beginning. Early stage companies may need more financial resources to invest in IT infrastructure and development. This can result in delays, poor quality products, and missed opportunities, right? Because if you need equipment to get out your products quicker and you've got a big order and you don't have the money to invest in it, that could be a problem. One thing that can hurt small businesses is uncontrolled growth. If you're not planning for it, that could be a problem. Limited scalability. Early stage companies may need help to scale their IT solutions as they grow. This can result in response times and increased costs. So part of being scalable is also being flexible. So Scalable is growing up. Flexible is bringing it back down. Lack would be lack. Next would be lack of alignment with business goals. IT solutions should be aligned with companies' overall business goals and objectives. Failure to align IT with business goals can result in wasted resources and poor performance. So keep in mind, IT guys love technology, and they will put together projects just to try things out, which is not a bad thing. But for a small company that is short on funds, they could be wasting a lot of money on technologies that are never going to work for that business. So it's important to kind of have somebody who can weigh out that information to say, okay, this is a technology we want to figure out if it's going to work for our business. That's great. But if it's a technology that really is not going to be something that's going to work for your company, then why waste your time going after it? So overall, early stage companies that need IT should take the time to be careful, to carefully plan and prioritize their IT needs. Seek out technical expertise when needed. Stay focused on their business goals and objectives. Doing so can increase their chances of success and avoid common pitfalls. So are there any questions on this? Okay. Moving right along. Poorly implemented technology is never the fault of technology. It is more the understanding of the technology implemented poorly. So I say this because there are a lot of companies, and I know I keep repeating this message over and over again, but there are people who see something on the news and they go, oh, we need to do that. We need to try that. Well, maybe based on what your industry is, it's not something that'll work well for your industry. Or maybe you have some guys who are just trying to figure it out and they're putting it together. It doesn't work. Not necessarily a problem with the technology. It has to be a right match for your business. And I see this all the time in businesses. I know of a delivery company that delivers for Walmart. They're a contracting company. And they figured out that people were stealing from them. So they went out and got photo verification. Now, this is simple. It's added onto their app. You take a photo of your license, the front and back, and it scans it and makes sure that you are who you say you are, and then you go pick up the package. Problem is, they never tested it. And right now, they're losing a lot of orders because their drivers cannot get photo verified. Why? They picked the wrong technology. They were picking it based on price, not on quality. And there's no support. This is also a company that your drivers have no one to call to say, we have a problem. They have to text. I don't know about you, texting and driving, kind of illegal. I don't know how they get away with it, but that is a problem for them. So let's talk a little bit about cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is crucial because it protects computer systems, networks, and data from theft, damage, or unauthorized access. With increasing reliance on technology and the internet in almost every aspect of our daily lives, the potential risks associated with cyber attacks are also increasing. Here are some reasons why cybersecurity is essential. Protection of sensitive data. Cybersecurity measures help to safeguard sensitive data from unauthorized access, theft, or corruption. Sensitive data can include personal information, financial details, intellectual property, and other information valuable to individuals or organizations. Right? That's all the data everyone in DC is complaining about right now. You're stealing my eyes being dilated. You're collecting all this information on kids dancing or whatever people are talking about. You need to protect that as part of your organization. Prevention of cyber attacks. Cyber attacks can lead to disruption of service, theft or data, financial loss, or reputational damage. Implementing robust cybersecurity measures can help prevent cyber attacks, minimize their impact, and reduce the likelihood of future episodes. Keep in mind, when it comes to ransomware, criminals will have access to your network 200 days before they make themselves known to you. And you may ask, well, why is that? They are looking at everything on your network to find out how people talk to each other, what nicknames they have for each other. They'll find out all your data on all your clients. They know what an image of your invoice looks like. They will figure all this out before they actually try anything. 200 days. And they steal a lot of data from that. Compliance with regulations. Organizations must comply with various cybersecurity regulations and standards, such as the General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, and the Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard, which is PCI DSS. Failure to comply with these regulations can result in hefty fines and legal liabilities. In addition to that, depending on what your business is, you may need other certifications. Right now, if you're a manufacturer and you're working with the federal government, you may need to become CMMC 2.0 compliant. CMMC stands for Cybersecurity Maturity Model Certification. So depending on your industry, there is HIPAA standards, there are financial standards. In every industry, there are some standards or best practices. Finding out what those are from your associations that work within your industry or talking to leaders in your industry can help you figure that out if you don't know. Maintaining customer trust. Cybersecurity breaches can erode organizations' ability to protect its data. Implementing robust cybersecurity measures can help build and maintain customer trust, essential for businesses to thrive. So important. I don't know how many of you remember the Equifax hack a few years ago, where they exposed 148 million people. And this is a problem that's never going to go away as long as that person is alive and then beyond. So if I have somebody's social security number, I may not use it today. I may not use it tomorrow. I may use it 20 years from now. And that was the biggest problem with the Equifax hack. Protection of critical infrastructure. Cyber attacks can disrupt essential infrastructure such as power grids, water supply systems, transportation networks, leading to significant economic and social consequences. Cybersecurity measures can help protect these critical infrastructure systems from cyber attacks. Well, it was 2 years ago, we had the pipeline hack that disrupted fuel on the East Coast for a few days. We had largest meat company that was hacked and couldn't get out their products and services to the world. So important. And right now, people don't understand how important cybersecurity is. In summary, cybersecurity is essential to protect sensitive data, prevent cyber attacks, comply with regulations, and maintain customer trust and protect critical infrastructure. And I have one question. I'm a business owner and my IT team will not give me access to everything. What is your suggestion and how should I handle it? To be honest, and I get this question a lot from business owners, I own the servers. I own my company. why won't my IT team let me look at everybody's emails and everybody's stuff? And the simple reality is because you become a threat. Even IT folks these days don't just log into a server and start typing away. Now, the best practice is that they will write a script, they'll test the script, they'll put it into the production server, but nobody goes in and just finger keys anything anymore. And the reason for that is that becomes a problem. If you mistype something, you can bring an entire server down. So having business owners looking at Susie's emails because he doesn't trust her, that's a bigger issue of that trust and whether or not you have access to those emails. So business owners, please be aware, your IT team is setting up cybersecurity protocols to make sure that and the other thing is if you get hacked and you have access to the entire enterprise, now whoever has your account now has access to the entire enterprise. These are reasons why we set up these protocols to make sure that none of them are breached. The other thing to keep in mind is that right now, there are 187,000 cyber attacks every hour. Think about that for a minute. 187,000 cyber attacks every hour. And that number is going up year after year after year. It is no longer a matter of if you will get hacked. It's a matter of when you will get hacked. And if you're not planning for it, that's a problem. I have another question. If I get infected by ransomware, how can I be sure it's gone? So that's a really good question. And if you don't have the right cyber security team to come in and do the forensics, you'll never know for sure. I had a friend who sat down with me one day. He's a fractional CFO. And I was drinking coffee with him and he said, you know, Jay, it's real interesting. I just met with a new client and they have a problem where they were sending out invoices and they weren't getting paid. And when they started researching it, they found out that the clients thought they were paying invoices. They looked exactly like their invoices, but everything was off by one character. The bank link was off by one character. The email address was off by one character. And so the companies paid, but they paid somebody else's bank. So this company lost $100,000. I sat down with one of the best cybersecurity teams in the area and the CEO, and we explained to them that although he had a great IT group, they're like a general surgeon. And if you have a specific brain tumor, you don't want a general surgeon. You want that surgeon who knows how to go in and extract out just that tumor. And cybersecurity is the same exact way. They needed somebody to go in and find that file and where those people are hiding and get rid of it. And the CEO came back with, I don't think this is going to be a problem. I don't know about anybody else on this call, but if I lost $100,000 to cybercrime, I'd be reporting it right away. $100,000 to me, it's a lot of money. Are there any other questions on cybersecurity right now? So what is the best malware virus program for small businesses? There are a lot of good ones out there, but it's really going to depend on your specific setup. Really what you're trying to get done. There are softwares that we all know of that you can put on your computer and you're fine. But when you're looking at the entire enterprise, you want an enterprise solution, and there are other ones, and there are new ones popping up every day. Here's something that I want people to realize, is that 90% of enterprise softwares use open source code. That's bad because the open source code, anyone can download, edit, re-upload, and they share it. And what's hiding in a lot of that code is malicious software. Companies are now going to start being compelled to make sure that anything they download does not have malicious code in it. And there are softwares out there that can track that down for you. But that would be a question that we could probably answer better once I knew something more about your particular company. Anybody else? Okay, hopefully you're all still awake. All right, when failing to plan for the future, you are planning to fail. That was said by Benjamin Franklin, and it's been reiterated many, many, many times. But if you're not planning on problems with your business and how you're going to come up with fixes for that, then you're planning to be out of business, is basically the truth. So let's talk about a little bit about cybersecurity insurance. Let's say you were hit with ransomware. What are you going to do? You don't want to come up with millions of dollars out of your pocket. And yes, there are ways to negotiate that down. Still going to cost a lot of money. Cybersecurity insurance. It is relatively new, but there are tons of companies that are offering it. Also known as cyber insurance, is an insurance policy that helps organizations mitigate the risk associated with cyber attacks and data breaches. And here are some reasons why cybersecurity insurance is essential. First of all, is the financial protection. Cyber attacks can result in significant financial losses, including costs associated with data recovery, legal fees, and regulatory fines. Cybersecurity insurance can help cover these costs and provide financial protection to organizations. Reputation protection. Cyber attacks can damage an organization's reputation and erode customer trust. Cybersecurity insurance can cover public relations and crisis management expenses to help organizations restore their reputation after the cyber attack. And that's basically press people who will stand in front of the camera and say, oh yeah, we got it taken care of. You guys will be fine. Risk mitigation. Cybersecurity insurance policies typically include risk management services, such as vulnerability assessments, security audits, to help organizations identify and mitigate potential security risks before they result in cyber attack. So the way the insurance company is going to mitigate their risk is they are going to do vulnerability assessments of your organization. They're going to give you a checklist of what you need to have in place before you can get insurance with them. They're going to make sure that you're doing everything reasonably possible to make sure you don't get hacked before they need to pay out. So they offer these risk mitigation services that basically will compel you to make sure you're taking care of your cybersecurity. Compliance with regulations. Some cybersecurity insurance policies can help organizations comply with cybersecurity regulations and standards by covering legal and regulatory fees associated with data breaches. Business continuity. Cyber attacks can disrupt an organization's operation and result in loss of revenue. Cybersecurity insurance can provide coverage for business interruption losses and help organizations maintain the continuity of operations. So again, if you're a pipeline or a fuel company and you can't get fuel out to the public, you're losing a lot of money. And if it takes you several days or weeks, I have known some municipalities who refuse to pay cyber security ransom and they rebuilt their systems, and it took them 18 months. And I know in Central Florida, just before the pandemic, there were 2 cyber attacks and hospitals in Central Florida. This happens all the time. And having cyber insurance is not a bad thing. It's like driving a car. You never think you're going to need insurance until you have an accident. And cyber insurance is going to be the same way. So did I read the last part? Cyber insurance is critical because it provides financial protection, reputation protection, risk mitigation services, compliance support, and business continuity coverage in a cyber attack or data breach. So the question is, will cybersecurity insurance actually pay the ransom? There's a lot of things that the cyber insurance will do. And yes, paying the ransom is part of it. That's why we have insurance, but they will do more. So cyber code is really bad code. There's no standard to it. And the encryption key, 50% of the time, does not work. So before you pay out all the money to the ransom company, the cyber insurance company will test the key and make sure it actually decrypts. And then, and only then, will they get paid. In addition, the cyber insurance company will get the FBI involved to track down these criminals to try and get their money back. In a lot of cases, they have gotten money back. Okay, so now let's just talk a little bit about what a fractional CIO can do for you. A fractional CIO, or Chief Information Officer, is part-time or interim CIO whose flexibility provides strategic technology leadership to organizations. Here are some ways in which fractional CIO can help small businesses. Technology strategy. So basically what we will do is we will take a look at your current state of your infrastructure. We will make notes on everything. We will sit down with your senior managers and make sure we understand the business goals. And we will map out a future state of where your infrastructure will be. So a fractional CIO can help small business develop and implement a technology strategy that aligns with their business goals. This includes evaluating the organization's current technology infrastructure and recommending solutions to improve efficiency and productivity. Vendor management. This is a big one, right? Because business owners have been told for many years that you don't want to have overhead expenses. So outsource anything that creates an overhead expense. And that's your financial department, that's going to be your HR department, and that's going to be your IT department. So the great thing is a lot of CEOs who are not technical, don't want to be technical, don't understand it, don't care to be, have said, great, I will turn this over to a managed services provider. And that managed services provider, their outsourced IT team, is basically a break fix type of relationship that you have with them. And what I mean by that is they don't do anything proactively. They might do patches on your computers every week, and that's fine. That's somewhat proactive. But other than that, you don't hear from them unless you call them saying my hard drive broke or I can't connect to the internet, and they'll fix that. So if it breaks, they fix it. There's nothing proactive, there's nothing innovative about that. And a lot of times business owners don't even really know what those MSPs provide and what they don't provide. And I say that because I've talked to some, and some don't even do backups of your data. And the most important thing that you can do for your company is always backing up all of your data. But more importantly than backing it up is occasionally trying to do a restore. And I say this because I've known companies, large companies too, who have backed up everything for years. And they're like, oh, we're so good. We're always backing up. Great. And then they try and restore from one file and they can't. So what they didn't know is the tapes went bad a year ago because they never tried to restore back. Or I work for a very large mortgage company in the United States, one of the largest, and they upgraded all their systems one day. And when one of the applications wasn't working, they figured out, oh, there was a file that wasn't brought back. So they went to the backups. Well, it wasn't there. They went back to all the backups for over a year and they still could not find that file. It is important to know what you're backing up. It's important to know what your vendors are doing. So a fractional CIO can help with that. Cybersecurity. Fractional CIO can help small businesses assess their cybersecurity risks and develop a mitigation plan. This includes implementing appropriate security measures such as firewalls, antivirus software, and employee training. And we do a lot of employee training because in most ransomware attacks, it's going to come down to somebody clicked on the wrong link. So doing spot checks, sending out test emails to your employees, all of that needs to be done to make sure that the employees are not bringing in viruses to the company. IT governance. Fractional CIO can help small businesses establish an IT governance framework that ensures compliance with regulations, manages risk, and supports decision-making. Right? So depending on your industry, there's going to be industry standards, best practices. There are going to be certifications that you may need. There will be all sorts of ways that you need to secure your data, depending on your industry. So a fractional CIO will know these things. He'll know the best practices. He'll know how to get the right information for you. And they will be able to put together a plan to help make sure that you are maintaining compliances. And project management. A fractional CIO can oversee technology projects, ensuring that they are completed on time and within budget. This includes managing project teams, developing project plans, and monitoring progress. So in summary, a fractional CIO can help small businesses develop, implement a technology strategy, manage vendor relationships, improve cybersecurity, establish IT governance, and manage technology projects by providing strategic technology leadership on a flexible basis. A fractional CIO can help small businesses leverage technology to achieve their business objectives and goals. So, any questions? Yes. So I missed one on cyber security insurance. How many years should I be in business before I worry about getting cybersecurity insurance? So that's another great question. It's all going to depend. And I once knew a guy who always answered every question with depends. But depending on your situation in your business and what you have to risk, so you need to do risk mitigation to figure out what is the most important to you. And I would say you could always start cyber insurance early because you never know when you're going to need it, just like car insurance. What do I look for in a fractional CIO? That's a great question as well. You want to look for a CIO that has a wide variety of experience. And I say that because you want somebody who not only knows industry, but knows other industries, knows how things work together throughout different industries to bring the right solutions to you. Do you see value in providing continuing employee training on cybersecurity and implementing random tests on these employees to see how they respond to suspicious emails, files, etc.? Yes, definitely, 100%. All the time. because you can't stress this enough. The biggest threat to companies come from inside their own company. And what I mean by that is people will send you a link, and I see it all the time. When I've worked in large companies, I would get emails from the help desk all the time. The problem was the help desk never sent out emails. And yet I would get emails day after day, stop what you're doing. Somebody had just clicked on something that they shouldn't have. And a really good software will trap that, even if somebody hits it at the very site. But you got to set that up ahead of time. So making sure that you do random testing, very good all the time. I get tons of these bogus requests all the time in my regular email, and I'm always laughing at them because, you know, yesterday I got one from Bank of America that they're going to lock my account, which is great because I don't have a Bank of America account. But if I clicked on that, then I'd probably give somebody my password or something. So being aware of that is always so important. Thank you, Rob, for that question. How would I know what the IT regulations are for my industry? And that's a great question, but every industry is going to have some kind of association that is putting out information on what they need to make sure that they're covering. There are also the NIST standards that a lot of people are basing all of their IT setup on because they are great standards for IT. The CMMC is 132 requirements from NIST standards and 10 requirements from CMMC. So yes, find out from your industry, your CIOs or IT consultants should be able to help you with that. But, and also you should be aware of what's going on in the news, because there's always going to be something that's going on with Congress that you may affect your industry. Any other questions? I thought I answered that. So I got another question. I thought I answered it. I only have business. I've only been in business for 44 months. When do I start worrying about, when do I start worrying about cybersecurity? Right from the very beginning. If you're not worried about cybersecurity while we're talking about this and checking the settings on your computer, that could be a problem. It will happen all the time. Now, how do I know that? Because we hear it all the time. How do you know for sure, right? I used to go to cyber security seminars, and I go back to the office and other managers were like, yeah, but you know, we'll never get hit. We don't have to worry about it. Why spend the money on it? So again, 187,000 attacks every hour. But if you have an IP address, you're risking you don't even know it. And I tell you that because I have a website. It's just my resume. I don't advertise it anywhere. I might have it as a link on some of my profiles, but it's just my resume. And nobody really cares about my resume. So I don't advertise it. And one month I decided to go look and see how many unwanted logins that were attempted, bad logins. And in a 15-day period, there were over 15,000 unwanted people trying to have my website. None of them got in, but that goes to show you that that's a website that nobody knows about, but has a public IP address. Keep in mind that the cyber attack industry has by far surpassed the illegal drug trade business by over 640%. There are trillions of dollars in cybersecurity attacks. They are being funded by governments. It's no longer a guy in the basement of the science building or in his mother's basement trying to hack you. It's no longer that kid looking for war games. It is governments. who are trying to hack all of American businesses. Because American businesses, if they can crash our economy, they can take over. So cybersecurity, and right now there's a mandate that's coming out from the White House that the #1 focus on infrastructure is cybersecurity. People will start being held more accountable. If you produce a software and you're not relatively making sure it's secure, that any open source code you have has no malicious code in it, they will start levying penalties against your company. So if there are any software security companies out there, be aware that you will now be held more accountable in the future. Any other questions out there? How is hiring a CIO different from hiring an IT team? So I love this question, and thank you for asking it, Jamie. And I know the follow-up question. So I will make sure that I answer that as well, because I always get these same two together. And that is, I am not the person who does all of the work. Any of the high-tech companies out there will know that when you say you're a computer guy, everyone thinks you fix desktops, and maybe you don't. Maybe you work on large servers, or maybe you work on other things. As a CIO, I like overseeing everything. I don't do security patches. I don't do the cybersecurity work. I hire people to do that. I bring the right people to the table. So you need an IT company or an IT team, internal, external, doesn't matter. But you need to make sure that somebody oversees that and reports to the board what's going on with IT in your organization. So the next question that I always get after that is, well, why do I have to hire someone to tell someone else what to do? Which is kind of funny, because isn't that what we all do? But the reality is, there are IT teams out there doing all sorts of stuff. And if you're not really technical or don't understand the way they talk, then you could be missing out. I know from managing IT teams my entire career, the quick answer is always, no, we can't do that. Why? Well, they won't tell you that they're understaffed, overworked, tired. They don't know or understand the technology, and they don't want to look stupid to you. They're not intentionally lying to you, but they're not telling you the truth. Can we do this? Yes, you can. We need more people. We need better training. We need all these other things. So the reason you need someone to work with your IT group and report to the board is to make sure you're getting that right information. And that's basically what I do. And I help remove roadblocks for the people actually trying to do the job. Any other questions? I think we're pretty good. Looks like we're doing pretty good on time. Great information. Thanks for your expertise. Thank you very much, Jamie. Thank you, Rob. Thank you for this presentation. It was very informative and helpful. Thank you. And just for anyone that is on the call, I will be getting my slides over to Julie, and she'll make sure that they get out to everybody for anyone. Also, real quick, thank you, Sam. Appreciate it. I am, as part of the UCF Incubator, I will give out 1 hour free consultation to companies who are interested in sitting down and seeing how I might be able to help them specifically. I have all my contact information right here. And I recently released a book on Industry 4.0. So for any companies that may know, manufacturers, healthcare, energy companies, more than happy to talk to them about Industry 4.0. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Jay. We really appreciate you being here. Once Jason sends me his slides, I will forward them out to everyone who's in attendance. We did record the session, so we will be sending that out. And I think Jay's going to be setting this up on a YouTube channel, on his YouTube channel. So once he does that, we'll send everyone the link to that because it'll probably be a little bit easier to access that way. So at this point, I'm going to stop recording.
Thank you,